Arthur Schopenhauer's The World as Will and Representation, 1818, stands as a monumental work in Western philosophy, deeply influenced by Kant yet moving decisively in its own direction with a distinctly pessimistic view of human existence. At the heart of Schopenhauer's philosophy lie two intertwined concepts, the will and representation. The world as we know it, the world of experience, is not the world as it truly is but rather a representation, a phenomenon shaped and filtered by our mental faculties. Behind this veil of appearances, however, lies the will, an irrational, blind, and ceaseless force that drives all living beings. This will is not a conscious, purposeful agent but rather the fundamental essence of reality itself, constantly striving without rest. Schopenhauer's insight reveals that this insatiable will is the root cause of all suffering, propelling beings endlessly forward in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Despite the stark pessimism embedded in this worldview, Schopenhauer offers avenues for temporary relief and even salvation, through the aesthetic experience and ultimately the renunciation or denial of the will. This presentation will explore these core ideas in detail, unpacking the complex relationship between will and representation, the nature and inevitability of suffering, potential paths to transcendence, and the philosophical critiques his work has faced. The dual nature of reality, will and representation. Schopenhauer's philosophy hinges on a profound duality that builds upon Kant's critical distinction between phenomena, the world as it appears to us, and noumena, the world as it is in itself. For Schopenhauer, the phenomenal world is the world of representation. This is the reality we experience through our senses, structured and ordered by space, time, and causality, the necessary frameworks through which our minds organize experience. However, beyond these appearances, Schopenhauer argues, lies the will and underlying essence of reality that is not accessible through intellect or perception. Unlike the representational world, which is orderly and comprehensible, the will is a blind, unconscious force that manifests itself in the ceaseless striving of all things. For example, when we see a tree, we experience it as an object occupying space and time, but the tree's will is its inherent drive to live, grow, and reproduce, forces that cannot be fully captured by representation. Human desires and motivations, similarly, are expressions of this fundamental will. Schopenhauer's famous declaration, "The world is my representation," reminds us that all living beings perceive the world through a subjective lens, but uniquely, humans can reflect upon this fact abstractly. Understanding this distinction not only highlights the limitations of human perception but also uncovers the irrational forces that govern much of our behavior and existence. The will as source of suffering, the cycle of desire. Central to Schopenhauer's pessimism is the primacy of the will as the driving force behind all life and phenomena. This will manifests as the will to live, an incessant striving that never finds satisfaction. Every desire originates in a sense of lack or deficiency, and although desires can sometimes be fulfilled, such satisfaction is only momentary. Once a particular want is quenched, another arises, creating an endless cycle of yearning and frustration. This relentless striving, Schopenhauer contends, is the root of all suffering. To illustrate, consider a person who longs for wealth. Attaining riches might bring temporary happiness, but soon new desires emerge, whether for power, status, or additional wealth, ensuring that true contentment remains elusive. In this way, the human condition is marked not by lasting happiness but by perpetual dissatisfaction. This framework provides a philosophical explanation for why material success and external achievements frequently fail to deliver enduring fulfillment. Schopenhauer's insight exposes the underlying dynamic that governs human existence, one where desire is both the source of vitality and the cause of suffering. Aesthetic experience, temporary liberation from the will. Despite the grim picture painted by Schopenhauer's focus on suffering, he offers a crucial form of respite through aesthetic experience. In moments of deep artistic or contemplative engagement, individuals can momentarily escape the demands and compulsions of the will. When immersed in a work of art, whether music, painting, or literature, the perceiver experiences the world purely as representation, without the overlay of personal desire or striving. This suspension of will allows for a brief but profound experience of peace and transcendence. Schopenhauer singles out music as the highest form of art because it directly expresses the essence of the will without mediation. Through aesthetic contemplation, the individual no longer acts out of personal desire but becomes a pure, will-less subject of knowledge, witnessing the world's forms as they are, free from suffering. Such moments provide temporary relief and reveal a deeper dimension of existence beyond the constant turmoil of desire. This understanding underscores the transformative power of art, not only as cultural expression but as a vital antidote to life's inherent struggles. Asceticism, and denial of the will, the path to salvation. While aesthetic experience offers fleeting relief, Schopenhauer's ultimate solution to the human predicament lies in the complete denial of the will. This radical form of asceticism involves renouncing desires, attachments, and worldly pleasures to break free from the ceaseless cycle of suffering perpetuated by the will to live. This ethical and spiritual stance finds parallels in Eastern philosophies such as Buddhism and Hinduism, as well as certain Christian ascetic traditions. By suppressing the will, individuals can transcend the endless striving, and achieve a state of spiritual liberation or salvation. Schopenhauer famously asserts that salvation and redemption lie only in the complete negation of the will to live, highlighting the necessity of this renunciation to escape suffering entirely. Historical examples include religious figures who embrace lives of minimalism, meditation, and self-denial, consciously rejecting worldly desires to attain peace. While such an extreme path may seem impractical or undesirable for most, Schopenhauer's advocacy invites reflection on the values of moderation, self-discipline, and detachment in contemporary life, challenging the modern consumerist ethos. Critiques and contemporary relevance. Despite its enduring influence, Schopenhauer's philosophy has drawn significant criticism. Many argue that his stark pessimism paints an overly bleak picture of human existence, neglecting the positive aspects of life such as love, joy, creativity, and meaningful relationships. Critics contend that by emphasizing suffering so heavily, Schopenhauer overlooks the complexity and richness of human experience. Furthermore, some find his metaphysical concept of the will to be speculative, lacking empirical grounding, and thus philosophically tenuous. His ascetic ideal, in particular, is seen by some as unattainable or undesirable for the majority of people, ignoring the ways individuals find meaning and fulfillment in everyday life. Nonetheless, Schopenhauer's profound insights into desire, suffering, and the human condition continue to resonate today. His work encourages us to critically examine the ceaseless pursuit of material gratification and to explore deeper, potentially spiritual avenues for peace and contentment. By grappling with Schopenhauer's philosophy, we gain valuable perspectives on balancing external desires with inner tranquility, an issue as relevant now as it was 2 centuries ago. Conclusion: engaging with Schopenhauer's vision. In sum, Arthur Schopenhauer's The World as Will and Representation offers a compelling, if challenging, lens through which to view human existence. By identifying the will as the fundamental essence driving life and exposing the inherent suffering entwined with endless desire, Schopenhauer presents a uniquely somber but incisive critique of the human condition. His suggested routes to temporary and ultimate salvation, through aesthetic contemplation and the denial of the will, pose profound questions about how we might live more thoughtfully amid the turmoil of life. While his vision is not without controversy, it remains a vital philosophical resource for anyone seeking to understand the complexities of desire, suffering, and meaning. If you found this exploration insightful, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into philosophy and ideas that shape our world.